Hey everyone, so today we're editing photos in Lightroom and I want to tell you about a really cool new tool that you can use to edit images, particularly if you enjoy the look of analog film and you want to sort of bring those film colors into your digital editing. So I have a collection of images here. These are kind of random from various cameras, from various events. So the photos that have been tagged yellow are actual film scans, because we're going to be using those to compare film with digital. The ones that are not color tagged are digital files. Today we're going to be using profiles from Color Precision to edit. I got an email a few weeks ago from Owen, who created these profiles, and I have to say I was really delighted to try the Color Precision profiles. And what profiles do is they allow Lightroom to interpret color in the images, and after you've applied the profile and have a starting place, you can make adjustments in the remaining editing panels within Lightroom. So here's Color Precision. What's really cool about this website is he includes a film comparison tool. So you can compare film scans from different film stocks. So for example, if we wanted to compare Portra 400 normally exposed on Noritsu, and let's compare that with +2 EV Noritsu. This is basically like a film test that you don't have to do for yourself, that you can just go to this website and use it as a resource. So thank you, Color Precision. This is amazing. It's really time consuming and expensive to do it yourself. Sometimes a great experience to do that, but we don't always have the luxury. So it's amazing to have this available to us. And there's a variety of different film stocks at different exposures and different scanners. There's also information here about the actual emulations, which are those profiles that we're going to be looking at in Lightroom, Kodak, Lightroom pack. There's also a free demo on here, so you can try it for free, which is really awesome. Okay, so like I said, this is sort of a random collection of images here. We're just going to start here and just go through these. So the profiles are found in the profile browser. The default is Adobe Color, but if we go to browse, we can see all of the color profiles that we have imported. And here are the Color Precision packs. Canon D, Canon R, and then there's also Leica and Sony. This image that we're seeing right now, it's a photo of me by my wife. This was shot on the Leica M11P. I haven't really talked a lot about the M11P on the channel, but definitely excited to talk more. Beautiful camera, but as you can see, like using the Leica lenses, you sort of get this kind of filmic look, and it's not as crisp as other digital camera systems, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to open up the Leica Color Precision profiles. Here you can see just how many profiles you have as options. It's a lot. It's almost overwhelming, but you have lots to choose from. Let's look at Portra 400 normal exposure on Noritsu. So this is kind of what the emulation does before, after. And then on the left-hand side, we have some AI masking presets and film effect presets, various contrast adjustments, expired film adjustments, film blur adjustments. Since this was on the Leica, I don't feel like I would add any blur to this, but you can if you want to. And then there's also grain adjustments, and these are cool too because the grain adjustments are made in the masking panel. They're not in the grain tool effects, so they're true to what actual film grain looks like. And then there's some highlight adjustments as well. As with any profiles, we can sort of adjust the intensity. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust this to 50%. Before, after. And I might just for fun add film grain to this just so you can see what it would look like. And I might actually crop this into a 4:3, and zooming in, you can see grain here. So that's a before and that's an after. I think this is a really beautiful look. So I think I would leave it here. If you wanted to be more filmy, you could sort of match it with your film scans. You have lots of tools to be able to do that. We're going to look at that a little bit later on. I'm going to go ahead and apply the settings from previous to this one. And I'm going to reset the crop, actually. And I'm going to bring down the exposure. I might increase the film profile for this to 75 and bring back the exposure, bring up the shadows a little bit. Before, after. Let's go ahead just for fun and look at what a frontier scan of this scene would look like. So Portra 400, frontier, just to kind of show you. Here's underexposed. So you can see those color shifts, properly exposed, +1, +2. And then you also have pushed versions as well. But for now, we're just going to stick with 0. And I might just warm this up a little bit. I might decrease the contrast a bit, bring up the overall exposure, and I might make this a little bit more grainy and just kind of even out the white balance here. Before, after, before, after. This one's also on the Leica. This is kind of like a vibey film edit, but pretty cool results there. Okay, a photo of my wife. Here she is. Before we start, I'm gonna bring up the exposure. Again, like these Leica files are really beautiful. Not necessarily the most practical camera, but definitely a fun one. I love the fall off from these vintage lenses. It's really great. And this was from Dune's birthday dinner. These are sort of all like just like personal images that we made. It's really amazing to have a tiny little M camera that you can just bring with you to a fancy restaurant and snap some photos later. Anyway, so I made some exposure adjustments. We're going to straighten this out a little bit. So let's go back into our color emulations. And I was actually liking gold plus 0 Noritsu. That looks pretty cool. I'm going to dial this down to 75%, and I'm going to adjust the white balance and the contrast and just make some adjustments here. Beautiful. I think, you know, the test of emulations for me is really all about portraiture, because that's sort of what we do all the time. Like, we make portraits. It's really important to us. So being able to get really good skin tones is important. And this looks great to me. So here's a before, after, before, after. If we go in here, there's no grain to this. Here's what it would look like if we added grain. So I used to add grain all the time, but recently I haven't been adding much grain to images, but you can if you want to. I think for this, I'm going to just reset the grain. It's nice that we have that tool built in just to reset that. And that to me looks really beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and copy these settings: before, after, before, after. Here is a Canon file from a wedding, second shot a while back. And so let's see how it applies in a wedding situation. So Portra 400, 0 Noritsu. So here's what that looks like. So actually right off the bat, it's doing some really nice things to the color. So that looks pretty great. And then I'm just going to even out the exposure here. I might raise the shadows a little bit, bring down the highlights a bit, bring down the overall exposure and the contrast a bit, just to make this like really soft. And then I think I'm going to bring down the overall profile strength to like 75% and adjust, make slight white balance adjustments. It's all about tweaking and finding something that you like. We're going to adjust the crop here to 4:3 like we did in that other photo. Oh, and I just remembered. So this actually is still on Leica. So let's see what the Canon R. This is shot on an R5, so I should be using that profile. But you can see it already looks nice with the Leica profile. Portra 400, 0 Noritsu. Slight change. And then we're going to bring this back down to 80%. Let's just see what that looks like. Just the white balance slightly. Yeah. That looks pretty good. So this image is really sharp, shot on the R5, 50mm 1.2, which is just really sharp. So if you wanted to soften it up, you could add some film blur here just to make it feel more like those vintage Leica lenses. I don't think I'm going to do that for this one. I kind of love it just as is, but look how much nicer the color is on this photo. Like the skin tone here is like so almost green, like yellowy green. It's partially from the setting too, is like very green, but this just makes it so nice. Those greens become more blue, skin becomes more pink. It's kind of like separates the tones in a really nice way, but they live together really nicely. So I think that this is just gorgeous. Okay, so moving on, this is another Canon file. I'm gonna just apply the settings we just had. So definitely need some adjusting here. We're gonna bring up the overall exposure, and it looks a little bit too pink, so I'm gonna just reset the white balance here. I'm gonna go to auto and just see what this does. Okay, still a little too cool. We warm it up a little bit. I'm gonna bring up the overall exposure, and then we might just sort of even out the contrast here. Again, it's like these little tweaks until you find something that looks good to you. And for this one, I'm gonna bring up the film profile to 100%. And I actually have a reference image that I shot on film. Now, I'm not looking for an exact match because they are two different mediums, but this at least will give us like some sort of reference to start from. And the film scan was shot on 120 on Portra 400. I think this looks pretty good. This is probably where I would leave it. If you wanted to add a little bit more blue to maybe like the shadow areas like you see in the film, you could, but I think I'm not going to do that for this because, like I said, I don't need it to match exactly, but this seems like it lives in the same kind of color world. So I'm happy with that. We'll keep moving on. Okay, here's an image shot on Sony. This is from a wedding we shot in Nantucket. I'm going to open up our Sony profiles, and I'm going to choose Portrait 400 again, just because I have a reference image that was shot on Portrait 400. So for this image, we're going to brighten it up, and we're going to just like even it out a little bit, make some adjustments here. And then let's open up our reference image. So film on the left, digital on the right. A lot of this is just based on, you know, the basic panel here. So like white balance and exposure adjustments. This looks pretty good. I think we need to just keep adjusting the white balance and contrast a little bit. So just added some grain here to sort of further emulate the film, but I feel like these are living in the same kind of film world. If anything, you might just add a little more contrast and bring this up. But to me, these look very similar. So I'm pretty happy with the edit here if you're trying to match these two together. I don't know, for my eyes, like almost indistinguishable. Maybe there's like a little bit more blue again, like in the shadows into midtones, kind of here you can see it versus here where there's like some pink-ish, but that's not bothering me. Don't think I'll add that. You could add that in color grading if you really wanted to get detailed about it. But for now, I'm going to copy these settings and move on to the next photo. All right, so let's look at this one. Apply the settings that we had previously. I'm going to reset the white balance, and then we're going to pull up our reference image. This was shot on the Contax, the film photo on the left, Contax 645 with the 80mm f2. Already right off the bat from the settings that we just edited in the previous photo to this photo, it looks pretty similar, pretty good. Like this is a pretty close, you know, right off the bat match. There's some like white balance adjustments, but just to my eye, it already feels like these are living in the same color world. I actually feel like I don't even know what to do. I don't know what to change before this is an after. So you can see it's definitely a stylized kind of look, but if you have film to match and you want all of the images to feel cohesive, this tool is amazing. I mean, these match really well, so pretty happy with that. Again, you could go further with it if you wanted to be like really specific, but I think these are close enough for me. Okay, so I think we'll stop there. That gives you a look at how these profiles work, how you can use them to match film. They're like a really amazing tool. I love color profiles in Lightroom and playing with them, especially when I have film reference photos. I get really excited about matching the film and digital, getting those photos to like kind of live happily together. Let's just take a look at the photos that we edited just to show you one more time. So here's this image, really beautiful. This one, I mean, looks really similar to film. Same with this one. Almost indistinguishable, these Nantucket photos. This one looks beautiful. Here's just one of me, yours truly. I actually love this photo, it looks great. One kind of more vibey, filmy, frontier style image. And then my beautiful wife right here. Gorgeous skin tones with this Kodak gold emulation. So yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I was really excited to share these color profiles with you. Go check out Color Precision. Like I said, there's a free demo. There's also that amazing film comparison tool, which is just like a free resource for you to learn about film exposures and basically do a film test without doing a film test. This is an incredible resource as a hybrid film and digital photographer, so go check them out. And thank you to Owen for sending over the profiles for me to play with. I always love getting new tools into my editing toolbox. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I'd love to see you at the next video. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.